What are journalists and bloggers? Both journalists and bloggers can be considered news disseminators. Both contribute to the society and are heavily relied on by news consumers. Journalists write news reports with the intent of sharing it with the world to keep people posted on current events, especially the political kind. Bloggers can write a blog and disseminate political news as well, if that's the type of content that they prefer. They are also similar in terms of being influential on being known by a large number of people. But how do they differ from each other if they're both allowed to disseminate political news? In journalism, when you write news, it is always important that you get information from the primary source. They can't write a script based on only secondhand information or hearsay. While in the world of blogging, they can just read more than one article on a specific topic and can write a commentary about it as they please. If they're fortunate enough to have the connections wherein they can go to the primary source, they can as well. But unlike the journalists, they are not required to do so. There are also other factors that differentiate journalists from bloggers. Bloggers can write as a hobby, whether it be about politics or not. If they can get a huge number of followers, they can write and get paid for it. But it doesn't change the fact that how they write is mostly opinion based and personally driven. Whereas for journalists, they're more committed and required to deliver evidence based information, not because they want to, but because they have to and it's their profession. In terms of verifying gathered information, journalists must be able to examine their reliable sources and those who are not. They even do more research themselves by digging deep into public records and documents accessible to them, while bloggers verify their sources by looking at the website and Googling it. Journalists put their lives at risk to be able to deliver news that is only factual. For instance, during the pandemic, journalists had to do everything they could to inform the public on what was going on and what was happening, whether or not it got worse or better, all while having to avoid being infected by the virus that caused a huge number of deaths. While bloggers can just stay at home, watch videos, reshare on social media, read articles written by other bloggers or journalists, and be in front of their laptop as they write a commentary based on what they have read. In journalism, the end goal is to be able to give a person watching or reading the facts in a way that holds your attention, while bloggers mostly want to prove that they have a voice. They want to be heard and included. They want to let other people know that their opinions also matter, as opposed to serving the public with nothing but factual information. Unlike bloggers, journalists also need to follow a set of standards for performance and ethics, which is the broadcast code of the Philippines. This code is divided into three parts. First part including 33 articles of the standards for programming. The second pertains to the implementation of rules and regulations, and the third part outlines the penalties for violations. Both journalists and bloggers contribute so much to society, but it is always important to dig deep into news articles and videos you're watching to make sure that everything you're consuming is evidence based.